It's time to welcome Bill Carne for our Pembrokeshire Sport Update. Very good morning to you, Bill.
Yeah, good morning. It's nice to see you both looking so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Oh, you wouldn't have said that yesterday.
Yeah.
We were all
And
a bit scary yesterday, well, scarier than we are this morning.
I didn't think that of Tom last week too. He was totally in the dark last week. I don't know what he looked like. So
No. It was funny stuff. But talking of
Silhouette.
last week, Bill, it's been a busy 7 days in the world of sport again, isn't it?
it has, as usual. There's always lots going on, Tom. I think my major focus in the week this time of year, because it's dark in the evenings, is the indoor cricket, and that's going on at a pace. Men's and ladies both going very well. Two great new young organisers in Sean Hannon and Sam Rossiter, and everything's going well with that. Yeah, it's been a busy week and a busy weekend, of course.
Yeah. So we'll start off. We'll keep with the indoor cricket then. Let's start with
Yeah.
the women's game, shall we? And it's great that there's scorers and there's different names coming up now, isn't there? In their second season.
There's some big individual scores this week, that's for sure, and a couple of sort of surprise results. The top game was Hook against Haverfordwest. They're two of the best 3 or 4 sides in the league, and very low scoring, which was quite strange. I thought Hook scored 67 for 2, which certainly isn't a massive score, and then they beat Hook. They beat Haverfordwest, who scored 63 for 6. Casey Aaron scored 27 for Hook, and then Joe Price was run out with 1 ball left, having scored 40 for Haverfordwest. She'd batted through on her own for quite a while. She has a partner at the other end, but they don't play any balls. And it looked like she would get through with 4 runs needed off, 5 runs needed off the last 2 balls. Then she got run out with 40. It's quite the night for Joe, because in the other game she scored 53 not out. So big weekend for Joe. In other games there, Haverfordwest then beat Pembroke, who were at the moment the side who were very new and learning lots. Haverfordwest 96 for 5. Joe Price had 53 there, as I said. Beat Pembroke 42 for 2. Bobby Neal had 17 for Pembroke. Then Pembroke Dock 67 for 6, lost to Hook 68 for 1. Cheryl Hughes had a good weekend. She scored 42 in that game for Pembroke Dock. And then she scored 27, retired. And they scored 90 for 2 against Pembroke in the last game, when Ginny Davis scored 17 for Pembroke, who did a little better than the game before. So lots and lots of cricket. And what's nice, Tom and Gina, if you go along there are 4 or 5 umpires all willing to help, all young people willing to help, and a couple of scorers as well. And it's all down to Sam's sort of encouragement, really. Yeah, good.
Yeah, and then from Sam to Sean, then the men's game is also taking place as well. And what I like about the men's, you've got these Pembrokeshire veterans that they were there last year and they kind of had a laugh, but we've had them on the Pure Sports show. We've caught up with them before. They're taking it a little bit more serious. Well, not necessarily a little bit more seriously, but they're giving it a good go, aren't they?
Hey, every one of those is a competitor. Don't worry. That's why some of the daft blighters are still playing cricket when they're 60 and plus, And they've now been boosted by some really young veterans who must be about 45 or 50. And they play with a joie de vivre. They're good. But they had a bit of a surprise. The first game, Pembrokeshire Vets A team, which is really the B team, the way they registered their players meant that they were in the slightly wrong order. Pembrokeshire Vets A scored 123 for 4 against Huntledon, who are a small village side who are starting to make an impact in this game. They got some good players. They scored 1, 2, 3 for 4, and Huntledon got it for the loss of 2 wickets. 1, 2, 5. They've got some good players. David Lockyer had a good game there for Huntledon. And then Pembroke, who are a new side. Men are struggling a bit like the ladies. They scored 73 all out against Hook, who are a very young side, let me tell you. I would think apart from Dav Bowen, the oldish captain, all the others are 20, 21, perhaps younger than that.
Oh, wow.
And Hook scored 74 for 1. They showed me, I watched them play their first games. That was their second series of games. You could see how much they'd learned from the first time. So they're going to be a county side, Hook. And then the Vets B scored 77 all out, which was a surprise. Simon Holiday top scored for him there, who's now playing up the line, of course, ex-Haverfordwest. He was top scorer there with 32 out of the 76. And then They were playing, let me just look again. Yeah, Burton were another new side who are going to be very strong, 79-3. And Kevin Bowen and Neil Williams scored lots of runs for the Vets A's. Both have played for Wales and not surprised at Vets level. Toby Heyman had a good knock for Burton, Jack Harris for Pembroke, and young Liam Miller for Hook. So lots of really lively cricket, but in the right spirit, in men and women. It's good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right.
Isn't it great that the opportunity this is giving to those younger players that might not be getting fixtures in the summer, they're getting the opportunity to have a hit out in the week.
Tom, there are some clubs, and who think they don't enter because they think, well, it's not real cricket, and it's not. It's not. You can't hit the ball massively hard through the covers or mid wicket. You've got to nudge the ball. But it's great for fielding. It's great for bowling. It teaches you a bit of discipline with your batting as well.
And I was thinking, sorry, Bill, I was thinking it's more of like technique. You're getting that technique built up in the winter, ready for when you go, because it's not all about the big hits, is it? It's not all, it's the technique side of things. And I can see that the indoor cricket is really going to build on that during the winter months.
In your few words there, you summed up more succinctly than I did rambling on just now. I'm impressed by you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also going to see today if you build on your play 2-1-1 predictions. Ooh. So I'm going to ask you that when we get round to the football.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I think we should move there now, actually. Let's move into football. Gina, you've become a bit of an oracle. Bill, how did she get on with the fixtures last weekend?
I don't think Gina's ever been called an oracle before. Right.
I'm saying nothing. Let's move on.
Yeah. The top game on the weekend, obviously, in the local game, is in the FAW Trophy South, where Hakin United travelled to Trostre. We're in the Carmarthenshire Premier League. And that's going to be a tough game. It's interesting because Tom and I had a conversation yesterday about this, because it looked as if they were playing Trostre away next week. And that is so. They're actually playing each other 2 weeks on the trot in successive competitions. So this week it's the FAW Trophy, and next week it's the West Wales Cup. So good luck to Hakin. The week after, they'll never get any league games done. They're in the West Cup, and they're entertaining Holywell Town all the way from Anglesey. So they're a warm welcome at the Obs, that's for sure. And I'd like to say well done to the Vikings, because Tom, Gina knows, I'm sure, they've missed out slightly by doing so well. It means they can't play under the rules at the moment in the Senior Cup in Pembrokeshire with their first team. And it's an anomaly. The league would put it right. It goes back 20 years. I heard Gordon this week saying on air, and he was right, this because at one time Pembrokeshire had 3 teams in the Welsh League. So there was always a fuss about who they could play in that competition. Yeah. But Hakin have taken it on the chin. Scott Davis is a diplomat, their manager. He's very earnest and very sort of intelligent young boy. You won't thank me for saying young, right? But to me, he is young. And I applaud them for that. Hakin are carrying the Pembrokeshire flag with style. And in one way, you could argue they've been punished for that by this rule. But it's nobody's fault. It's happened. And both sides have accepted this. So it's good.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And they're going to carry on going forward. So we wish them all the best in all of these cup fixtures that are coming up. And from the team that's been kicked out of that, well, they missed out of that cup, Haverfordwest County, their run of form is still not great at the moment. But and they've got the league leaders coming to the Bridgemeadow tomorrow.
Absolutely. If you look at the sort of difference at the moment, Haverfordwest County are 9th with 9 points from 11 games. And New Saints are first with 28 from 10. So they've drawn 2 and won the rest, and they're a professional side. They're boosted by one gentleman who's a character, and it's a hard game. They lost last week to Bala, and under controversial circumstances. Jack Wilson, they scored early on, then Jack Wilson was sent off with a red card that was harsh, to say the least. It's been expunged, I'm glad to say, so he can play this week. He went in a 50-50 ball and came away with a red card, which was absolutely the mistake. I never criticise referees, but the ref got that one wrong, in my view. But then he said, that's what he saw. So Haverfordwest got a tough game. I'm going to watch that. And then we've got the Division 1 football. So here's where Gina comes in with a wealth of knowledge on football. Top game tomorrow, Goodwick United, who are top, are playing Carew, who are 5th. Bear in mind it's at Phoenix Park, so Carew travel. Come on, Gina, and we'll rattle
Well,
down.
I haven't got to think about this too much because being from Carew, I've got to go with the Carew boys. That's it. Yeah, there's no question.
Okay. What about the weather? Do you think that would play a part?
Well, yeah, it is. Because the pitches are waterlogged at the moment. There could be a bit of skidding and sliding going on.
Right,
So
yeah.
yeah. So that could get in the way. But for both sides, they're both playing on the same pitch.
But
there you
do
go.
you think Carew will skid a little less than Goodwick?
Well, they might skid that ball into the goal.
There we are. You try beating that, Tom. Your challenge
There
is
you
to
go.
go to the other end of the table where Claverson Road, who are bottom, are playing St Ishmael's, who are bottom but one. So come on,
Yes.
let's have your wealth of knowledge.
Well, my wealth of knowledge, I know that Clarbston Road, it's a tough game for both of them because they both need that win. It's going to be at Clarbston Road. I think that this could be the turning point for Clarbston Road's season. I think they're gonna nick it from Tish, and I think we're going to see a few more victories for Clarbston Road over the coming weeks.
Well, I'll go for Claverson Road as well, and I'll put a jinx on Goodwick by tipping them to beat Carew. So, as we say, Gowney well, let's wait and see for next Friday. I can hardly wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for this.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Come on,
I'm
boys.
easily pleased. Very right. And then we've got Fishguard Sports who are 6th, play Merlin's Bridge 3rd. That'll be a good game. Kilgetty were 8th, Neyland 9th, and Penna Robbins have their local derby against Monkton Swifts, 7th versus 3rd. When I was a young fella, Tom, Penna Robbins seconds used to play Monkton Swifts every Boxing Day in the Ernie Morgan's Cup. It was Monkton seconds because they were too good for Penna in those days. Now they're both in the same division, and I still love going to watch that. And I played in a couple of Ernie Morgan's Cup matches as well. So for Penna Robbins, yeah. So lots of football going on.
Yeah, no, there's lots. And in fact, the point that you made about the red card in Half West County, of course, the referees, the league still needs referees, but they need to be treated with respect, don't they?
Do you know, it's one of the big worries for me. You look, cricket is going the same way. There were very few umpires this year. But football in particular, referees suffer abuse, and it's got to stop. It really has. Some players, certainly some supporters, have to learn that they're going along to enjoy a game after a week's work. It's not huge. It's not a matter of life and death. And you look at awful things going on in the world. Football is a small thing, really. It's a chance to just relax. And I wish some people, from the bottom of my heart, I wish some people would recall that, remember it.
Yeah.
And then from one shaped ball to the next, then let's have a look at these rugby fixtures. We've got the championship, and then it's the return of the cup games.
Oh, you can see I'm starting to gnash my teeth already at the futility of that blinking competition. But in the championship, Narberth, who are doing amazingly well for Pembrokeshire. And that's not a demeaning thing to say. It's amazing. Narberth, who are 5th, entertained My State Quins, who are 10th. Narberth have had a couple of very good wins on the road, so hopefully they will be too strong for My State Quins. So good luck, the Otters. They carry the Pembrokeshire flag well, really well.
Yeah.
And then in this staff competition, in Division 1 competition, they're in groups J, K, and L, respectively. That's how many blinking divisions there are. Crymych are at home to Fellinville. Gorsinan played Pembroke. That's going to be a tough tussle for Pembroke. I hope they can get a team for that. And Whitland entertain Newcastle Emlyn. I can see some sides, not playing because they cost £600 a week for the bus. They're playing 2 away games. They've already played 2. They're playing away now. It doesn't matter to any results. And they lose all the profits from their bar. And that keeps clubs, whether we like it or not, it keeps clubs afloat. Yeah. In Division 2, Milford Haven are home to Ponty Berham. Pontedilice entertain Tenby United, and Buryport play at home to Fishguard and Goodwick. And in Division 3, you can see the number there. They go down to Section O. So that's what we're in sections on this. Pembroke Harlequins entertain Tonmouth. Kevnithin are at home to Neyland. Llangadog versus Haverfordwest, who are in with a chance of taking that section as they did last year. And Furness play at home to Cardigan. So lots of rugby, but lots of blinking travel as well.
There's a lot of travel, isn't it? It's exciting for the supporter of the local supporter if the other team does make the journey to see a different team and something different from their usual league. But as you say, the implication is just too big for some of the clubs to risk, isn't it?
Yeah, Tom, what I think they should have done, and I'm not a wise old owl, and it's just my view, but they should have zoned it first. So you'd say have Pembroke Dock, Langham, Milford, and Neyland playing in one zone. The beauty of that is there's no travel for them really, there's no cost. But when they got a home game in that, the away supporters will come. The old fogies like me would come along and reminisce with the old fogies that they used to hit lumps out of years ago and are now good friends. And they would stay for most of the evening, and the club would have a real money earner. And it makes sense. And that could be done. It could be zoned in every area of Wales. Instead, we're travelling to Bridgend and places like that. If you ask the clubs, I'm sure they all would say, zone it. Never mind this nonsense about having exciting games. I'm
see what happens. And in less than a month's time then, Bill, just before we wrap up, you were on a panel on Wednesday.
I was. It's always the hardest thing to pick the players and teams and all sorts for the sports awards. And it's heartening. There were 186 entries this year. That's the equal record. But we will break the record when we have the nominations for Chairman's Award, which is very special, and of course the Lifelong Achievement in Sport. So that took place. Now a month tonight will be the actual Sports Awards finals in Folly Farm. They're wonderful hosts. The theatre is brilliant. The rides are open beforehand for an hour, free for people to go on. And I don't want any adverse comments, but there's also a buffet as well.
Oh,
I'm not saying
I'm there.
It's a small buffet, and I'm not saying that's what makes my night. But it's a part of it because everyone sits there and mingles, meets old friends, makes new friends. So that's fantastic, yeah. And could I just mention a couple of other things, Tom? Just to say that this week on the show on Monday night, I'm interviewing Eric James and Tim Green. Eric, they both played in 50 years ago in the Wiltshire Cup final and won it. But Eric moved from here to play semi-pro in New Zealand. He now lives in Australia, and he's back home to see his pals, and it's quite a move-in thing, really. So that's that. And Terry Hart then has been interviewed by Fraser. She's a darts player hoping to make the World Transplant Games in 2023. So we wish her every success in that as well. And finally, if you don't mind me mentioning one gentleman of sport who's just had a major heart operation, that's Mike Tennick, who's from Neyland. He's a lovely man. He's from up north originally. I think he's a Durham man. Although he'll tell me it's probably Sunderland or Middlesbrough or somewhere where they're very clicky up there. But Mike has had his operation, and we wish him every success for speedy recovery. Really, he's in Morriston.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, everyone here sending well wishes and get well soons to Mike Tennick. Bill, thank you so much for your time as ever this morning. Oh, Gina's got something else?
No, I was just going to say I'm looking forward to this next bit because I always look forward to actually your song choice, Bill. That's what I enjoy. Yeah. Are you going to sing a little bit for us today?
Old fogies back to the 60s, yeah. Did you ever see a man with no heart? Baby, I'm that man. Just a lonely, lonely man with no heart till you came along. I'm not singing directly to you.
Right, there we go. Well, I'm looking forward to this. Can you introduce it for us, Bill? And we shall catch up with you again same time next week and have a fabulous weekend of a weekend and a week of sport as well. And I'm hoping that Carew are going to do their thing.
Well, everybody, thanks for putting up with my rambling on. But today we got a lovely record from the 60s, one of the best groups there. There's still some of them actually performing, and it's I'm Alive by the Hollies. And yes, I am alive.
Thank you, Bill. We'll do it all again next week. It's 7:26 here on Pure West Radio.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving. Your one